We got Gem Knight on the left, Vanquish Soul K9 on the right. Duelist drawing their opening hand of 5 card.
Certainly a great set of card protectors there. You've got Stake Your Soul in the extra deck for Urkum. He's kind of telegraphing a little bit, but not so on Steven's side with LZ and Silent Magician. Speaking of spell cards, here comes Reinforcement of the Army.
This will go ahead and get a level 4 lower warrior monster. I think we all know the one that he's going to get, and I do mean the one he's going to get. Vanquish Soul Rosin is being added to the hand. This card is now newly limited, and on resolution, we're going to activate Draw and Lock. We're at a powerful going second tool in this format right now, and Steven is main decking it because he knows whether I win or lose, I'm going second. And the pass!
But the pass was really heads up from Urkum, considering that he has the Mulcharmy Fuwalos in his hand. 2 copies, and he has an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So once he saw that he couldn't really do much more, he just decided, you know what, I'm just going to let this happen and find out what I'm up against.
Yes, but hopefully...
Sales ban, declare Vanquish Soul Holisu.
Ooh, and we've just declared Sales ban as the first action
Normal
in
Gem
phase
Knight
1,
Nephrim, effect
calling
search.
Holisu, and there we see the Gem Knight Nephrim coming out on summon effect to go ahead and search for a Gem Knight card.
Yesterday.
Or sorry, any Gem card Nephrim can search for.
I love how cyclical this card particularly is, right? Giving you the extra normal summon, almost a chibi little Seraphonite in
three,
and being able to come out of the graveyard too if it's sent to the graveyard just in case there's a Gem fusion.
That's
but
fine.
it looks like it's going to get hit by Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
In response, I will chain...
So we're going to chain link 3 here, Called by the Grave, targeting the Ash Blossom to banish it and negate Ash Blossom for the rest of this turn and to the next. Nephrim's effect is going to go ahead and go and search. This usually goes for Gem Armadillo because Nephrim also gives you an additional normal. But if we already have something like that, we're going to get Holocore instead, which is an additional body. And like you said earlier, Steven, is access to an in-archetype Omni Negate.
Certainly a powerful card there. Again, Battles of Legend, Monster Mayhem really pushing this deck over the edge. And a lot of duelists were like, it doesn't matter. This set is just one of those sets I can skip. Not so. We saw this really in the top gun of the NAWCQ. I believe Gem Knight's been top 4, right? Which is crazy.
Oh, yeah. So here we see the Gem Knight Fusion being sent from deck to grave for cost to go ahead and special this Holocore from the hand. And then Gem Knight Fusion can go ahead and banish a Gem Knight card to add itself back to the hand. I believe this is all part of the summoning condition for Gem Knight Holocore, so it's all going to happen no matter what. And then we're going to go ahead and link summon here into the Gem Knight Phantom Quartz, the absolute best Gem Knight card of all time. On summon, we'll go ahead and let him search for a Gem Knight card. This usually gets the Gem Knight Dispersion.
I mean, Brilliant Fusion might have words with you about being the best Gem Knight card of all time.
But it's not called a Gem Knight card, so you can't search it. I can search Gem Knight Dispersion, and then Gem Knight Phantom Quartz is just super sick.
Well, speaking of super sick, looks like we are going to go ahead and grab our Gem Knights.
Yeah, that's Dispersion, which is going to be a either in-archetype Reinforcement of the Army or a in-archetype Branded Fusion, or sometimes both.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Basically, you have to have Gem Knight Fusion in the graveyard to be able to use the fusion effect, but thanks to Holocore, we do.
Use the effect of Gem Knight Dispersion to fuse.
And we are going to be using that fusion effect, like I said. This will allow us to summon, I believe, any Gem Knight Fusion, as long as it's not a rock, using any monsters from our deck.
Damn.
And we're going to chain to that double Mulcharmy Fuwalos, getting 2 draws off of this fusion summon here for Urkum. And now Steven has to worry a little bit about, well, what happens if he draws Nibiru? Let's see if we can't play around that.
Rocks afraid of rocks? It's a good idea that he called Vanquish Soul Holisu, obviously, especially because of the Mulcharmy Fuwalos, which at the time Steven didn't know about. But the fact that he might draw into that Holisu, it's not really going to do anything this particular turn.
Right.
But the Ash Blossom being negated next turn could come to haunt Urkum, so we'll see if maybe it's not as bad as you think. But speaking of which, here comes Brilliant Fusion's favorite target, Gem Knight Seraphonite.
Oh, that's actually Lady Rose
Diamond.
Oh,
it is. Oh, you're right.
Which I believe requires any 2. So we're going to send Nephrim and Gem Knight Quartz from the deck to the grave to go ahead and summon it out. And then this will trigger both of their effects when they're used to fusion summon. Basically, Gem Knight Quartz will let you add a Gem Knight card, and then Gem Knight Nephrim will let you discard a card to summon it back to the field. And then it's worth noting that Nephrim still has the ability to give Steven an additional normal summon this turn that he has not used yet. And then Lady Brilliant Diamond, for those that don't know, is a card that came out in parallel the elements of all sets, one of the most powerful sets of all time. Basically, it's a Gem Knight Detonator. During your opponent's turn, every time they activate a card effect, you can just, I believe, banish a Gem Knight card and destroy a card they control. And it's not once per turn, not once per chain. You can just do it as many times as they activate cards.
That does sound like Detonator. So,
sorry, Lady Rose Diamond.
Broken.
Urkum taking just a moment there, reading through the Gem Knight cards, just like I may have mistaken a name there. He is not familiar with them because it's true that you don't see this all the time. Steven, particularly, is the sole duelist among hundreds of players still in the tournament running this strategy. But it should give you 2 things to think about. 1, everybody needs to study every card. And 2, you need to give credit where it's due. There's a lot of great decks out there that in the format can survive.
Yeah, but just a heads up for the interaction that just happened here. We used the quartz to add the Holocore back to hand, but then we use the Nephilim as Chain Link 1 to discard the Holocore that we just added back, to then summon it back to the field. And now we're using the effect of Gem Knight Fusion, banishing the Nephilim in our graveyard to add it back to hand. This will give us access to another Fusion Summon. And for those that don't know, Phantom Quartz also has the effect to pay 1,000 life points and Fusion Summon, which could be pretty impactful here if Steven ever wants to summon something like Gem Knight Master Diamond Dispersion to kind of go for that big one-turn combo to win the game.
I mean, if you're Urkham, you're really just hoping for Nibiru or else, though, because all the attack points are starting to pile up. And while certainly Gem Knight Nephilim reduced the amount of effect damage that was going to be dealt, that is not the game plan of Gem Knights any longer. So we're about to have a couple of rocky punches to the face here and reduce his life points.
Oh yeah, there's no dealing direct damage. It's just, well, I mean,
if this field.
If you call it, if a punch in the face is direct damage, then I guess you can do that. So I guess we're just clarifying here how Phantom Quartz works, because you can target basically cards from the graveyard, field, or banishment, I believe. Maybe even from hand, but you usually just use all the cards that you banish off
of
Gem Knight Fusion, just so we can get maximum value out of all your cards.
It is important to remember that the fusion brought up by Gem Knight Phantom Quartz cannot attack directly that turn, so we want to make sure only the correct amount of battle damage is done.
Yeah, usually the one to summon off Phantom Quartz is Dispersion, who will by himself tribute himself to then summon out 3 other fusion monsters.
I'll pay 1,000 life points and attempt
we're going to go ahead and use the effect of Phantom. We're actually going to link into a second copy of Phantom Quartz here.
Interesting.
Just to get more material in the graveyard, I assume, to go ahead and shuffle back in using the Phantom Quartz.
Also helps with Holocore. Now there's more Gem Knights in the graveyard to banish. Maybe
Very
more selected
true.
Targets.
Very true. Playing around the particular cards that could interact pretty positively into Steven's damage here.
Well, the clock is ticking, but this is not a game I think is going to go all 15 minutes, considering that both decks are designed to really clinch it out in the battle phase.
Oh yeah, Steven wants to activate fusion spells and get 8,000 damage in play. He's not going to do much more than that unless he has to. But Urkham is getting 2 draws every single time Steven summons from the extra deck or the main deck, so got quite the full grip here.
I do see a Rescue Ace Impulse in his hand that Urkham is considering. There's also a Kanon Isna, so he's just trying to choose between those 2 powerful ways to get in. But we are going to go ahead and tribute from the hand the Rescue Ace Impulse.
Yep, and we did activate effects in the graveyard, so that
fire,
will be able to summon itself. So we do have access to plenty of bodies if we're Urkham, which could be all we need to survive this turn. And then once we go back into ours, we'll have a full grip, like I said.
Well, it does help you draw deeper into the deck if we do see Fire Attacker here.
So yeah, and this is, I believe, chaining to the Phantom Quartz's effective fuse. So we paid 1,000 life points, I believe, to do that. And now we're going to go ahead and shuffle back 2 Nephilims and the Phantom Quartz that was in our graveyard to bring out the Gem Knight Master Diamond Dispersion. There he is, the brand new boss monster from Battle's Legend Monster Mayhem. This card during the main phase quick effect can tribute itself to summon 3 non-rock Gem Knight fusion monsters from your extra deck, ignoring their summoning conditions, and it is quite the card.
Yeah, that's an insane effect. Anytime it says ignore summoning conditions, I'm like, wait, what?
And then I believe also it has like a floating effect. Basically, if any of your Gem Knight cards are destroyed by battle, I think, it'll come back from the graveyard. So you could do it again on the following turn.
Yeah, that's just big monsters coming back in with 3,000 attack. That is trouble.
Only battle, I believe. Very, very specific. So we're going to go ahead and use the effect here. Usually you want to get something like Ruby, Aquamarine, Topaz, Prismara. There's all these weird ones that are just kind of like not rocks, even though they're named after rocks. But there we see Topaz and Prismara as the 2. What's the third one going to be? And there's Ruby. Oh, yeah, there's Ruby.
Took a while to figure out his favorite bird sound, but Ruby does hit the field.
Now we're going to use the Ignition effect of Prismara, discarding a card to go ahead and target that Fire Attacker to destroy it. Topaz can make 2 attacks this turn if it, I believe, only attacks monsters, and then Ruby can actually tribute a Gem Knight monster to gain that monster's attack point.
So I think Urkham making sure that he understands there's no card effects, and yeah, he's not even going to try to do the Isna, just let it go.
Urkham say that he was going first. I think he's choosing to still take the first turn. I think he's just putting faith that his engine is strong enough to interact with Steven's board. He just kind of got stopped in the first game as well.
No, you're definitely right there, and I think we're going to either start off with a Pot of Prosperity or perhaps a Canine Noroi. Trying to decide what to do here between the 2 options. Urkham shuffles his cards, and I think we're going for the normal summon instead.
Yep, so there we see the normal summon of Noroi, which can happen even though it's a level 5 monster.
Results.
Just have to have 2 or more cards in the hand on the opponent's side.
One of my friends.
And now we're going to use the effect here to go ahead and grab out Jokul from the deck.
He was like, I'm getting that Noroi.
And now we're going to see here. I'm actually very curious that Urkham chose to go first, but I guess he has a lot more confidence knowing that, oh, in game 1, I kind of just didn't have my Vanquish Soul engine online. If I did, I could have easily have interacted with Steven's board. So let's take him for a loop and show him I'm not afraid of his go second strategy.
Yeah, from his perspective, it's not that he lost to the deck. He lost to a hand of Ash Blossom, Mulcharmy, and then just the single reinforcements of the army. There was nothing he could do in that situation, so he's just going to try to do it again.
Especially after getting drolled.
Not too silly.
Droll and Lockbird's such a powerful card this format. Doesn't work against every deck, but does shut down quite a few.
But it's one that Gem Knights can happily play in their main, which is very well suited for this format.
Search a lantern.
So we'd see the Ripper effect being used to go ahead and grab the Lantern from the deck.
Lantern, target Noroi.
We're going to go ahead and use the effect of Lantern here to bring back the Noroi. Get access to another rank 5 potentially.
The surge power on the K9 just feels unmatched. All these cards on the field just giving you more cards. So a case for K9 being activated there. I think we're going to get another one. Curious to know if maybe we use the Noroi effect here. We did see it on previous K9 matchups where sometimes they will just tribute the monster just to see. But if you already know your opponent's on Gem Knights and maybe you don't know a lot about the Gem Knight strategy, maybe it's not worth it getting rid of an extra monster off the field.
Right. So here we see, I believe, the case effect here. Go ahead and grab another copy of Jokul. I don't believe we've used Jokul effect to summon 2 level 5s from the hand, and I think I saw a Holisu in our hand for Urkum, which could be super exciting. And we're going to get some hand knowledge here with this case for K9, and there's a Talents and a bunch of Gem Knight monsters.
Let me read these real quick.
So we have pretty much every single gem card that matters here. Gem Armadillo is a normal summon to add any Gem Knight card. Holocore we saw in Game 1. Nephrim we saw in Game 1. And Gem Knight Quartz does have a pretty important ability in the hand going second. You can basically discard it to go ahead and put any fusion, a continuous spell, face up into your field. So things like Brilliant Fusion or Scatter Fusion could be used going second with Gem Knight Quartz. So this hand doesn't look that powerful, but it does represent more than enough damage and pressure that Urkum needs to worry about.
Well, Steven, thinking the same thing I am, one of the most worrisome cards there is Triple Tactics Talent. That's certainly going to inform your plays afterwards because you know anytime you do something, your opponent's going to punish you the same way that K9 does.
Yep, and you might see the power of something like the Gem Knight engine at actually breaking boards if we go over to Stevenson. But for now, we got some plenty of K9 plays to still make here. We're going to use Jokul to bring out another copy of Noroi and itself. That is, you know what? If Urkum chose to go second, he's representing a lot of damage here.
Yeah. Number 5 is certainly alive, and K9's such a cool deck because just like we've had other decks in the format, you know, historically, Sprite sort of revived level 2, Ryzeal revived level 4. It's so nice to finally see level 5 getting it. Going beyond, I guess, Cyber Dragon.
Every K9.
And here we see Steven just double checking. Okay, so we've used all of these effects from all these cards, right? I just want to make sure I can keep track of what stuff you still have access to. We did go ahead and add a copy of Izuna to the hand, which means we do have technically more K9 cards, but because Steven hasn't activated anything from the hand yet, or the graveyard, Izuna is left back at home.
Wouldn't get a whole lot done. It is not time for her to enter the fray, but after a quick cut to the deck, taking a little bit of thought here with the Ripper.
Might want to maybe save the Ripper for something like Holocore potentially, but no, we're just going to go ahead and link. Is that a link 4? Let's see, what could this be? Is it Saryuja? Yes, it is. There we go. Saryuja Skull Dread. This will let him cycle his entire hand, get access to even more cards, and fill his yard full of K9 cards. I kind of like this.
Yeah, it's wild to see. This is the second time we've seen Saryuja on the feature match stage this weekend, and it is still a great card, you know, with the ability to get additional special summons and the fact that you get like this huge hand sculpting.
Yeah, because like what does Vanquish care about most about? The right names and the right attributes. This card lets you get both of those things.
3.
We got to put 3 back here.
It looks like we're eyeing up Prosperity, another copy of Case for K9, and wow, that hand looks so good.
Gotta drop 1.
I'm seeing 3 Vanquish Soul names, one of them being Holisu, Borger, and I think a copy of Xiaolong, Izuna, and Droll and Lockbird plus Vanquish Soul start. We're going to choose to devalue the star tier because we already have all the Vanquish Soul names we care about, and we can always access that later using cards like Mad Love.
So 3 cards back to the bottom of the deck in any order.
That is fine.
And it is worth noting that I don't believe need to use Saryuja's ability to special summon quite yet. We can save it for later and use all of our Vanquish Soul cards first.
So really powerful start here, completely different than Urkum.
Sorry, what did you reveal?
Started the last duel, so now we're going to go ahead and reveal Xiaolong there. Special Holisu.
That's right. I believe it will get a boost from Skull Dread being in a zone that it points to. I think it's 300?
Yeah, it's tiny, but it could stack up.
Yes. Definitely matters for the high defense or attack of something like Holisu. So now we're using the effect here, revealing, I believe, Fire and Dark to go ahead and summon from the main deck another Vanquish Soul card. This could get the Mad Love, this could get the Rosin, this could get all kinds of things. We're going to go ahead and get the Mad Love here to go ahead and search for the Vanquish Soul start field spell. Like I said earlier, we have access to it in many ways in this deck. Going to go ahead and add that to the hand. This will then get us access to another attribute that we might be missing, maybe something like the Caesar Valius. We could get the Rosin, special summon it off Skull Dread. Like I said, I think the world is Urkham's oyster, and he knows that Steven has no way to interact with him right now. All the interaction is saved for Steven's turn.
It is nice to know that there is no Nibiru coming, especially in a rock deck.
Yes. But this is the kind of thing you sign up for when you're Steven. You're like, oh, I'm going to choose to go second, and I'm not going to play that many interactions that actually stop my opponent besides, like, the more permanent ones, like Joel and Lockbird, for example. So being able to just play into board to something I'm sure he's used to doing, and I'm excited to see how he's going to tackle this full power Vanquish Soul Canine board.
It really is interesting now that I think about it. The life of a go second battle phase duelist is almost like you're watching combo videos all day, and then you're like, okay, cool, now what do you end on? I don't care about what you're doing. I just need to see what the field is that I got to punch on through.
Sometimes it's a little, like, cathartic, because you're like, that's a really sick board. Darkle.
Bye.
So here we see the Saryuja summoning out the Rosin, and I believe we're going to use the effect on Summon to Search. Probably going to get something like Valius or Borger, just so we have access to putting more of your Vanquish Soul names back into your hand.
I don't want to rush you, but I just like you to think a tiny bit faster.
Yep. Gotcha.
Steven mentioning that it has been going a little slow here. You do have to keep up the pace of play. There's no set time. I see some duelists say, no, it's this amount of seconds, it's that amount of seconds. No, there's no specific time for slow play. But it is important to keep things going because, again, with that 50-minute timer, you want your win, and your opponent wants you to win, too, in its own funny way. We saw that yesterday, where in a double loss situation, it's actually better to concede because that means your opponent he has points, so he's going to give you tiebreakers.
Yep. It's always important to keep the time in mind and make sure that the pace is efficient. Not necessarily a specific time, but the pace is consistent and efficient.
You know it when you see it, for sure. But speaking of which, seeing Vanquish Soul Xiaolong, and we're also going to reveal a Canine
Those are just all the known cards, so he's just revealing to Steven all the cards that he knows are in his hand. Sometimes I have a habit of when I'm playing Vanquish, I'll just leave the cards I revealed face up the entire game and be like, oh, I'm revealing it again. Be like,
point to it.
Be like, do you see this? It's right here. So we're going to go ahead and link summon here, I'm assuming with the Rosin, to go ahead and summon Rock the Vanquisher.
Interesting. I don't think I've seen a Rock of the Vanquisher in the main monster zone in a while.
Yes, it's very hard to, in this deck, usually get access to a down arrow before you summon Rock the Vanquisher, but it seems like a pretty sweet way to do that here. Just going to go ahead and get the essential free recycle and the free interaction during Steven's turn.
I feel like we're seeing some fighting game notations. Not just a down arrow, right? It's down left, down right.
They're going to reveal an Earth and a Dark here for the effect of Mad Love to return the Noroi to the hand because I believe it has the least amount of defense.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Link monsters don't have any defense, so they wouldn't even count for Mad Love to bounce back.
No, they would not, but we do get our Vanquish Soul Xiaolong on the field because there was some revealing going on.
That's right, and now we have the effect of Vanquisher adding back the Rosin. Now we're going to use the Xiaolong effect, revealing 2 fires.
Xiaolong, Raisin, Noroi, Izuna, Jokul, 1 unknown. Is that correct?
Steven performing the memory test here, listing off all the cards he knows as we finally see a little bit more here. Yep, just showcasing all the stuff you know.
Exactly. So we know 6 cards of Urkham's 7-card hand.
Look at the field, too. I mean, Saryuja really lets you just keep going, and it'd be nice to see it be popular again. It kind of shifted out of the format for years, it seems.
Yes, it's also worth noting, too, that by the end phase of this turn, Urkham's going to have more than enough Vanquish Soul names in play to trigger the secret effect of Vanquish Soul Start to get a free spell and trap card set face down. We're going to go ahead and get the Heavy Borger onto the field by bouncing back that Holly Suit that we can then use again on our opponent's turn. We're now going to link summon here using the Xiaolong and the Skull Dread Saryuja.
So I assume that's either Link. It's got to be Link 2. There's no way that's Link 5.
Yes. There are no singularities here, if I had to guess.
So we do get SP Little Knight there, certainly a much more helpful card than Saryuja, because yes, it's cool to be able to special up the monsters to gain the attack boost. It's even cooler to be able to remove your opponent's threats from the field.
I think it is worth noting that I don't think Urkham has any ways to reduce the number of cards in his hand, so he will be forced to go to discard during the end phase cleanup here.
Don't see that every day unless it's Mystic Mind Pass. Long gone since those era.
Oh, yeah. Usually when you see it nowadays, it's kind of a cool thing. You're like, I just drew too many cards. That's kind of sick.
I'm just that good. So Urkham going to go ahead and use that secret effect, like you said, setting the Vanquish Soul Snow Devil. And pretty strong field to end on. Again, you got everything you needed.
Yes.
Still have a bunch of different canine cards in the hand to be able to interact with your opponent.
That's good to know.
Haven't seen Lupus go to the graveyard, but he is definitely ready.
Yeah, we have access to these, which is always put it into the graveyard during Steven's turn.
What has been added to your hand?
So wow,
Rosin,
with
Sue,
7 cards,
Roy,
what do you discard?
Yeah.
Jell.
I feel like.
Thinking. Oh, still on Fizz.
Oh, he's debating if he wants to Borger and draw an additional card to get
And the
even
discard
more.
too?
Burger to
He's doing it.
Sure.
Yep, we're just going to show
you wanna
reveal a
cut?
dark there
I
and
already
draw a
cut.
card. Well, that's a pretty easy discard because you already have one of those.
Yeah. Which kind of telegraphs it to the
Not
opponent, though. Do you
discards.
want to discard it or not? Well, it looks like we are.
I think in general, you would value most
My
of the
stake is
engine
too
cards you have in
buttery.
your hand at this point more than a Droll and Lockbird because Gem Knights, while they do search quite a lot, usually their first search is the most important one.
I think you made the right choice. Certainly the Noroi not doing a whole lot on your opponent's turn.
Stay my main.
Alrighty, and I don't want to do a
Draw
count of the
phase.
interactions that Urkham has because they're kind of
Burger
infinite. Because of the Halisu and the Izuna, it can be really tricky to see how he's going to navigate this board texture. But
Oh, but drew that what appears to be called by the grave just 1 second too late.
yeah, that would have been an awesome set here.
You're good.
Normal summon Gem Knight Nephrim. Effect to search.
All right, this is going to be a pretty tricky board state for Steven to navigate, but if there's any deck that could do it, it's going to be the Gem Knight cards because even the Gem Knight cards themselves have amazing ways to play into boards like this.
Well, let's see which of the many card effects that Urkham has access to he decides to use first.
I think the big one to watch out for everyone at home is going to be that set Snow Devil. When Urkham decides to do that is going to be a big telling play where he kind of devotes a lot of resources to it because it'll get rid of every non-Vanquish Soul card he has in play. So he has to kind of either do it really early or do it really late as a last resort. But it could be too late if he waits too long. Because the Gem Knight cards don't mind being destroyed and being placed in the graveyard. They can come back pretty easily depending on the spell cards you have in hand.
No response.
Including Gem Knight Nephilim
Like the
itself.
search, Gem
So
Knight
we are going to go into the
Dispersion.
deck,
There's
no
no
response, just going to grab that Gem Knight Dispersion.
It is worth noting, too, that Urkham knows that Steven has a talent in hand that he needs to watch out for.
no
So
need
if
to
he has
rush.
interactions that are not
Yeah, yeah,
monster-based,
yeah.
which I believe are
Versus
almost none of them, maybe you try to
That's
save those for a time where I'm not worried about a talent too much.
He's got the one trap card, but that is not going to do enough against an entire onslaught of Gem Knight cards. So at some point, that triple tactics talent is going to be live. I think using the Droll and Lockbird may help.
So there we see the Drone Lockbird on resolution of the Nephrim Effective Search.
Speed up. Okay. Okay.
So it looks like we are seeing a slow play warning here. There is going to be a time extension, of course. Do have to pick up the pace of play. Again, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Competition, and especially on day 2, we are not horsing around. You do have to keep things going.
Nope.
But that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's not going to result in any game loss or anything. There'll be a time extension that will be added if our clock hits 0, but I don't
good.
think that that's where this duel is going.
And obviously, it's
Sorry
pretty
about
clear
that.
to tell that Urkham is not used to playing against the Gem Knight cards, but I think he's doing a great job so far of making sure he assesses the threats when he needs to and then plays as best he can.
May I read
But that
a
just can
memo?
take some time, especially when you're playing a deck as intricate as the Canine Vanquish Soul deck.
Certainly freestyle jazz here when you're playing against something you don't know, but I feel like that is something increasingly happening in Yu-Gi-Oh! There is no best deck. You cannot just pick something you found online. You have to play something you're familiar with. It's the right pick, as you said, for this tournament.
That's right. So it looks like here, because we activated the Droll and Lockbird, we're now going to activate the effective talent and choose to take, non-target, take a card that Urkham controls. This will force some interaction on his end. We could use things like the SP Knight and the Vanquisher.
Sure.
So we're going to go ahead and use that
Sorry,
now,
SP
targeting
this,
itself and the
taking
Nephrim
anything
to
else.
both banish.
So then that's interesting. What would you decide to take then if you're Steven?
I will
It'd be the Caesar
chain-
Valleys, maybe?
I'm trying to remember what the Gem Knight attributes are because
Love.
I'm not sure if you can activate Mad Love's effects
Healing
in the
Dark
deck at
Knight.
all.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
funny.
But it's looking like Urkham
And
is
I
trying to
will
get ahead of it by
chain-
activating the effect of Mad Love himself.
Draw.
And then we're going to use, we've already used the effect of Borger to
To
draw,
add
and you
that.
don't want to use Rock the Vanquisher here to summon because Steven could just take the monster that you summon. So we're going to use its effect to add the card to hand instead. So we've
this
used
guy.
all of our monster effects,
Get banished.
as well as return the Borger back to our hand using the effect of Mad Love, and now both the Nephrim and the SP. So the
I'd like
only
to-
options are this Mad Love or this copy of Rock the Vanquisher.
Am I allowed to use the effect of Mad Love?
Oh, that's a very good question. So because the effect has already been activated, but it's changed control, could it activate again? I believe the phrasing is Vanquish Soul Dr. Mad Love can only activate its effect once per, use this effect once per turn.
Think so, but luckily we've got our judges up on stage here to answer a few questions.
I'm pretty sure Gemini Holy Core is a dark, and I'm pretty sure Gemini Quartz is an earth. So yes, you can activate the effect of
Okay,
Mad
just wanted
Love
to make sure.
if you
On
want it.
resolution.
That's fine.
Use Xiaolong effect
So the
to
judge
specify
did
it.
say one way or the other whether it's activated or not. If we see it activated, we'll know what happened. If we don't, then we know what happened.
Gonna go ahead and get Xiaolong out here onto the field. Still a handful of K9
good
cards.
to
No
go.
longer worried about the triple tactics talents. You can definitely
I'd like to
pour
use the
those
effect of
K9s onto the
Gemini
field.
Holocore in hand. Send
So
Gemini
here we see the
Fusion
effect of
to
Hollow Core
graveyard
sending
for
Gemini
cost.
Fusion for cost to go ahead and summon itself to the field. We did get to summon that Xiaolong because we did reveal for a Vanquish Soul effect the chain previous.
So many cards in Urkum's hand. He hasn't committed any to the field yet, but I'm sure it's coming sometime.
It is worth noting that Gemini Fusion does have a way to get back into the hand, and I believe Phantom Quartz is forced to is 2 Gemini monsters. I don't think you can link summon Phantom Quartz right now using what's in play already. I could be wrong, but I guess we'll find out.
You have how many hands?
4.
4.
This could be a Snow Devil line, and then you can just chain Xiaolong to that.
It has to be itself, yes.
So confirming, by the way, your Phantom Quartz is 2 gem monsters.
Yes.
So unfortunately, Dr. Madlove, certainly a glittery card, but not a gem card.
Yeah, I definitely like Steven's play of using the effect to take to just force a lot of interaction out of Urkum. But here we're going to see the effect of Snow Devil here, revealing a fire, a dark, and an earth. It'll go ahead and essentially dark hold the entire board, but protect all Vanquish Soul monsters.
1800.
Deal 1800 points of damage to Steven, and then allow Urkum to summon a Vanquish Soul monster from his hand. Oh, the Mad Love I don't believe is destroyed. Oh, maybe it's only your Vanquish Soul card.
And I'll choose
Worth noting.
if I want to special summon.
Sure.
And he's going to choose to not special summon, or I guess we're debating which one to summon. Yep, we're just choosing which one we want to summon here. It's looking like...
Attempt to Gemini Dispersion
Yep, we chose not to, and then we're going to activate the effect of Gemini Dispersion Diffuse because we did send the Gemini Fusion earlier. This is going to be pretty big here. This can get us access to Lady Rose Diamond, which would be pretty huge here. The effect resolves. We're going to go ahead and send off Nephirim, and then maybe a copy of Quartz. Yes, we saw this Song and Dance in Game 1. Lady Rose Diamond is going to be a pretty huge card for playing into this board here for Steven. Like I said, being a non-once per turn, non-once per chain detonator just by banishing Gemini cards. And then it's going to be, I believe, Chainlink 1 Nephirim, Chainlink 2 Quartz, add back a gem card, then discard a card to bring back out the Nephirim to get an additional normal summon. And as we know, Steven has plenty of those in hand.
Kind of wild if Steven is able to push through just the perfect field that Urkum set up. I mean, he customly sculpted that between the Saryuja, summoning all those different canine monsters, etc. He got everything he wanted, and yet Steven seems like he's in a position to push through nonetheless.
And Steven double-checking that Hollow Core there because it does have a negate ability while it's in the graveyard as long as you have 3 Gem Knight cards in there.
Now, you do have to banish them, though, so that could be a little expensive.
Chain
Yes.
Holly Suit to summon.
So here we see the effect of Holly Suit to chain to the, I believe, chains of Quartz and Nephirim. We're debating here if we want to banish with Hollow Quartz and negate that. That could be a pretty IE negate, but then it would stop our Nephirim, I think, from being able to be summoned. No, because we can still discard a card from our hand, so it could be worth it. But the fact that you don't get the Gem Armadillo effect to search as you're under draw might be a little rough for Steven. But we'll see what happens here.
So he's going to use the Hollow Core, banishing 3 Gem Knight cards, including the Hollow Core itself. So it is going to be negated. But that is expensive again because it does remove so many Gem Knights from the graveyard. So certainly there's a lot of different ways to play this deck, but you do have to pay the piper here.
Also, we have now officially activated effects in the graveyard, so this this Canine Izuna is now online for Urkum.
All right, well, it's time for a case for Canine.
Well, we have to double-check Lady Rose Diamond really quick, because if we activate too many monster effects, we could just lose our entire board to that card.
No.
Urkum might regret not bringing out this Holly Suit using the effect of Snow Devil, because now it might be hard to get it in play to get us access to takes or give us access to more of our Vanquish.
Oh, wait, no, because because Quartz will add back first.
Oh, so you're trying to add back first.
Yeah, so looks like we're going to activate the effect of Quartz then?
Yes. Well, he has, so he has to add back a Gem Knight card with Quartz because he declared it as Chainlink 2, and it doesn't target. So it has to add back one back. But then that means Nephirim is no longer in the graveyard to be summoned back to the field. So now Steven's not going to have access to the additional normal summon. It's my understanding.
Gem Knight Quartz.
We're now activating the effect of Gem Knight Quartz to discard itself from the hand because our opponent controls monsters, to then go ahead and place a Fusion continuous spell. That could be Scatter, that could be Brilliant Fusion.
Could be Brilliant Fusion.
Which would give us Seraphonite, which could give us access to that additional normal that we need to get the Gem Knight bodies in play, because we cannot link off this Lady Rose Diamond into Phantom Quartz. But once we get Phantom Quartz in line, we will have access to Dispersion, which could be more than enough damage to win the game.
Fusion spell for my deck.
Well, with Nephilim no longer on the field, you don't have your sort of easier access to the additional normal summon, but we may end up seeing Seraphonite for the same purpose shortly.
Oh, yes. Brilliant Fusion is a lot of things. Seraphonite's one of them.
Yeah. What a wild card. I mean, whole community lingo came out of Brilliant Fusion, and yet here we are seeing at the top tournament tables once again.
We just see the judges communicating with our players here, I believe, giving them a heads up about something. add to the clock here because there were 2 slow play penalties given to Urkum throughout this game.
So I guess he couldn't hear me from back here in the cheap seats. It is important to keep up the pace of play.
Right.
It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to think about stuff. But again, there's not going to be an upgrade here, so that means there's no game loss involved.
That's right, but we do have the Brilliant Fusion here being activated that we searched off courts all those minutes ago. We're going to go ahead and use its effect here using the Nephirim as our light monster, and hopefully another Gem Knight card, Holocore, as our gem monster to go ahead and bring out that Seraphonite, I'm assuming here, to go ahead and get access. Oh, actually.
Yeah, 3 gems.
We're just going to do it the hard way. We're just going to send 3 gems from our deck to the graveyard here and go straight into Dispersion, maybe?
Summon Diamond Dispersion?
Yes. Yeah. He's like, well, I don't think you can stop me from doing this, so we're just going to use the effect, automatically bring out 3 non-rock Gem Knight monsters from the extra deck. Because, yeah, if we activate any monster effects to summon to the field, we can always just use Lady Rose Diamond to destroy them.
Well, when Steven got to resolve his Brilliant Fusion, he did just say yes. You know, he knew what was going on. He knew that this might be the linchpin to close out this duel because that's another body and another body, and here comes Rose after for Ruby.
Yeah, so that's Prismara, Topaz, and then Ruby's going to... Oh,
not Ruby this time.
It's going to be Aquamarine. So Aquamarine, I believe, when it's destroyed, can bounce something back to the hand.
Interesting way to keep up the pressure here.
It's also got, I believe, 2,400 attack points. Topaz has 18, but can make 2 attacks.
I would like to add back
Prismara has 2,450.
Gem Knight Quartz.
And now we're going to add back the Gem Knight Fusion here by banishing the copy of Quartz.
Coughs and Artifact Lancia.
Would have been nice. So there we see the Fusion being activated here. You can't just use it as a Fusion spell for Gem Knight cards.
I'd like to add back Gem Knight Fusion.
Ooh, and then we discarded it using the effect of Prismara to get rid of the field spell to stop the protection effect against the Vanquish Souls. That was a card I totally forgot about. But luckily, there's at least one Steven playing that's smarter than me and realized that was a problem that he had to answer first before trying to go for game this turn.
So the moral of this duel is 1 Steven is better than 2.
Well, yes.
Now, looks like that's a lot of bodies on the field, and with only Vanquish Soul Xiaolong here to slow things down, this may be the end, but we've already used the Gem Knight Holocore, I believe, from the graveyard, so I don't think we're going to have any way to protect against the dropping down of the canine monsters.
Oh, but there we see the Lady Brilliant Diamond that I was mentioning earlier. This card can essentially, I believe, tribute itself to summon any Gem Knight fusion monster. Like, you can summon anything. But you have to get rid of itself, I believe.
Unero Nuno.
Urkum may just be reading the cards that are about to clinch out this duel. Sun is getting low as he checks his hand of canine cards.
Aquamarine to return Vanquish.
Yeah, but there's the effect of Aquamarine here when it's sent to the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and bounce the Xiaolong back to hand.
To graveyard. I can return 1 piece of card you control.
And I believe it doesn't even target either, but he only has 1 card anyway.
Attack directly?
Yes, they can.
Oh, yes. All these monsters can attack directly. Urkum did just ask that clarifying question. And even if he does summon a canine monster, you can just destroy it if he tries to activate any of the other effects to quick XZ summon using Lady Rose Diamond.
So going to use the Xiaolong effect to go and turn that to defense mode. Certainly heads up play there, slows it down just a little bit.
Yes, but now we can just use this effect to summon another monster and attack with that instead.
Send herself to special 1 for my extra deck.
Oh, that's right. You can send any Gem Knight card. That's right. But just choosing to send herself because she's in defense mode can't attack. If cards can attack this turn, they're not worth it in Steven's mind.
And Urkum surprised again. He might have missed a spot there because there's so much going on with this Gem Knight deck.
Ooh, and there we see the OG Gem Knight Master Diamond. This card can just copy other Gem Knight monsters' abilities.
Steven proudly just slapping that down on the table, knows he is inches away, life points away from winning this duel.
He also gains 100 attack points, I believe, for every Gem Knight monster that you have in the grave, which is quite a lot right now.
But Urkum finally jumping in with the Canine Isna might be performing a powerful XC summon combo.
But here we see the effect of Lady Rose Diamond banishing a Gem Knight card to, in response, destroy that card on the chain. There it is. We're still going to get to send here, which means we will get access to Lupus, but once again, all these effects do activate, and Lady Rose Diamond is not once per turn. So the second this Lupus tries to summon itself and maybe try to XZ summon, maybe into a Typhon or something, which you could do, it might actually be not the best play. It's probably better just to leave it as a body that's in play to try to soak up some damage.
Well, yeah, Lupus usually a lone wolf that partners up with other canine monsters, but he's actually a lone wolf here on the field by himself. No XC summoning happening at all.
I'd like to attack over it with Lady Rose.
Here we go, Bell phase.
I would like to chain Nephirim.
Yep, and there we go. Chain the effect of Lady Rose Diamond to
Nephirim to pop it.
Destroy. It's not once per turn, not once per chain, Urkum, unfortunately. So if you activate Lupus's effect to XZ summon something like Typhon, which you can legally do, it will be destroyed before that effect can resolve. And there it is!
Wow!
Steven 2-0 Gem Knight deck. We love to see it.